Welcome to the Get Out There and Get Known podcast. Join Pam Perry, veteran PR strategist, Emmy award-winning producer and publisher of Speakers Magazine, who will show you how to crack the code in getting out there to get known. Each week, she either interviews her media friends, PR colleagues, or she just goes solo, offering you strategies on publicity, publishing, and platform building. So listen up to hear how to get booked on media places and on superstar stages. Now, here's your host, Pam Perry.
Hey there. This is the show, and I have my guest, Lyris, from Lyris Media, Lyris Bernard, and we're going to be talking about therapy. And like I said, the first video you saw, PR people, we do all the things. We do the media training, we go in the studio, we help people with videos. It's like basket weaving and dish bottle washer. We are head everything. We do it all. And we do it with the point where people think like, oh, that looks really easy. That I could do that. So Lyris has been my buddy for a long time, my PR colleague. She specializes in PR, and kind of tell me a little bit about your area, especially of your PR. And then we're going to have a conversation like two PR pros behind the scenes, and you are just like pulling back the curtain and kind of listening to us as a fly on the wall.
Well, hi, Pam. I'm just so excited to be here with you. You're always just so wonderful, and it's a great collaboration working with you every time. So yes, Lyris Media, we're based here in Washington, D.C., an award-winning PR firm. We specialize in media relations, digital marketing, and we do more the company B2B kind of PR, do a lot of health campaigns, national health campaigns, where we, for underserved communities, where we do media relations through multicultural media, different media that goes directly to the people, but also a lot of just business development, because a lot of small businesses need some PR. And so they come running, and we just love to help.
So me and Lyris, we did she was there on the ground, had boots on the ground, but we did a joint PR thing where we were, remember this, right? So we were doing this, and it says, if you're speaking and selling on big stages, now it's time to expand your reach with mass media. We had a PR superstar special where we guaranteed 3 media placements among broadcast, print, and podcasts. And so what we provided, the list on this, I look at this, it's like, wow. It was Essence, it was Essence Magazine, Upscale Magazine, Black Enterprise, SiriusXM, USA Wire, Speakers Magazine. And basically we did online press releases for them, 4,200 websites, Black journalists, the AP Newswire, all of that we did for a price point that was one time only. This was a $3,500 value. So we're not doing that right now, but they could have taken that place. They could have took advantage of that during that time. And so between the both of us, we had this at the Power Networking event when George Fraser did this, and we had these on the tables in there. And Lyris and I, we've been at the Black Door Society events and things like that. She's helped me out there because she was the person that was my camera person.
Right.
Like I said,
amazing organization.
People, we do all kind of things. We do all kind of things. It's like if people don't understand where to go or what to do, they typically go to the PR person. Let's go to the PR person. They should know. And typically we do kind of connect the dots and know everything because it's like, okay, well, if we don't know, we know who to ask. And that's really where people go to publicists because of connections. So Lyris has connections with Upscale Magazine, and I have connections obviously with these other ones, SiriusXM. But it's like if you want to know how to get something done, people come to PR people and they'll say, oh, okay, I have a friend or we can connect you with. Now let's get into the they got to pay for this. So a lot of people think because you know somebody at Essence, you could just get me in. And it's like, you know what? The contact or the relationship building, that took some time to develop. So you just can't swipe my Rolodex and, and just think like, oh, well,
Give you the
I
phone
just
number.
take,
Can I just get the
take
number?
your
Can I just get the
contact.
number?
Oh my
Or get the results that we get
God.
because it is a relationship, because they do read the email that comes from us, because they
Mhm.
do know
They
that if
open
we sent them, that we've done the vetting, that we've done the preparation. And it's just everything that comes with before you do PR is everything, the building. And so that's why you said that we do everything, because I found that when they get here, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I've got to build you and fill out your holes before the spotlight hits you.
yes.
I have to get you camera ready. I have to get all of the marketing materials done. I have to get all of the platforms in place. I've got to redo the branding. I've got to
Mm,
rebuild because you're not
that part. That part.
ready.
I always tell people, I said, in order for you to get PR, you have to have a brand. So it's easy to pitch, let's just say Black Enterprise. And we're going to pitch Black Enterprise and we're pitching Tina Knowles, let's just say. Well,
Mm,
Tina Knowles has a brand. So of
right.
course they're going to want to interview her, or they're going to want to have her on their their Women of Power Summit, or they're going to want because they are bringing an audience, they have a brand that people are familiar with, trust, know, like. So before you hit the spotlight, like Lyra said, you have to have this brand. And how much branding should it take? It takes baby steps along the way. It may be before Beyonce was Beyonce. She was on Star Search and she didn't win. Or before Beyonce, she was in Destiny Child and her first album failed. All these type of things where it didn't be, we don't know about the failures or the small steps that they made. We just know her as Cowboy Carter now. But she's been at
Oh,
this like
long
30 years.
ways. It's
So
30 years.
what we're telling people, it doesn't necessarily take 30 years, but you do have to give yourself some time. When you go to a publicist and when you come to us, know that one of the first things we're going to do is really dissect and do an audit of your marketing materials, your brand, your hooks. What is the angle that we're going to pitch each particular outlet? Like we don't have a email list that we just hit select all and we send the same pitch to everybody. We have to make sure that it matches, and that takes time. And so it it may take a year. I'm gonna be honest because I know people here out here, oh, you can just make me famous, with your magic wand. Woo, 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 you just do your magic wand and
They-
and make me famous. It's like, no, we can't just wave a magic wand. That magic wand actually is going to work after you put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
And what
That's
Lyra said is like maybe redoing their website. We have been involved in doing that.
many
Maybe
times.
we have to write some articles for them and they've got to put them in the trade journal. Maybe we got to write some op-eds. And people are like, what's that? It's like, yeah, we got to write that too. Tell them what op-ed is.
Well, an op-ed would be an opinion piece that would talk about what you think and
Mhm.
what your stance is, your positioning on an issue that would
Mhm.
make you worth listening to. That is
Mhm.
part of the credibility building. That
Yep.
is the purpose of PR. Because
Mhm.
PR is for it's the long game, like you said. It can
Yes.
take up to a year. And one of the things you have said to me, and I was like, it's true, is that a lot of times you can't go straight to essence. You have to, you really start with your local PR. And even that is a whole campaign. It's a project. It takes time to get the attention of your local PR your local media, so that they will put you on as a, spotlight on the 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock news, or just to get your
The
name
morning
in
show even.
the morning show, to get your name in the newspaper, in the magazines. All of that takes a full on effort. But if you haven't gotten the name recognition locally, you're not going to get it nationally. I mean,
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
unlikely. But
Yeah.
if you get it locally, then the national is more likely to follow, because the um
Receipts.
you have the receipts, and what it is also the training.
Training. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's to give the time, and you get a chance to do it a few times, and you get a chance to get better at it. And then you can just be thrown in the water and you can swim, because you have swum the English Channel a
Mhm.
couple of
Mhm.
times.
Mhm.
So it takes all of those things.
And I like the fact too that you are working your way up to it. No one wants to go from 0 to hero in a millisecond, because now you're not ready. You have to be prepared. And so what happens if you are just starting out? I remember, I'm gonna tell this, and then I won't tell the person's name because I said I wasn't gonna say the name, but they were so ready for national television. They were just like, I need to get on national TV. So I got them on a a, a local spot, and the local spot was in I would say a country town, okay? And it's like, okay, let's do this TV show. And he was horrible. First of all, he wore the wrong thing because he was so ready, so we couldn't tell him anything. Wore the wrong thing, had a hat on, looking like Jethro, I want to say, and he was so nervous that he kept rubbing his knees,
Mhm.
and he was very nervous. He was rubbing his knees, rubbed his knees, and then shaking it. I mean, it just looked like just uncomfortable. I said, "But you were ready for the Today Show, okay?" So then the next time I had him look at the video, and it was a small town, so it wasn't, but he could still see. He was in the studio, and the lights made him nervous. So the next one was a bigger market, wore a better outfit, did better, but he didn't have his messaging down at that point. He kept saying and so okay. He looked at that one. I said, "Do you see where you're going?" So finally we coached him, because some people don't understand that they think they see a segment, 5-minute segment on television, Good Morning America, CMA or GMA or whatever, that is easy. So then the next one, he was on a major station, wore the right thing, meaning like he matched the show. He watched the show, so he knew how the show people, how they dress, and he came in dressed like them. He didn't come in dressed like Jethro, and he had his messaging down. He smiled as he spoke. He did not shake, did not move on his knees and all of that. So at this point, he was ready. He had a good show, but it took 3 months to get to that point. But if he would have just came to me and said, "Well, get me right on the," and it's like it doesn't happen like that. You need to see yourself. And so a lot of times people need to read about themselves in the online paper, in the newspaper or online. And they need to let that set with themselves, not to get ego, which is a whole nother thing there. So we talk about that, but to read it so they see themselves the way the media sees them, so that they can see what they're projecting. Because what they think they're projecting and how a reporter writes about them is
Mm,
different. So they
right.
need to see how they're coming off when they're interviewed or when their story is told in the media. So they get a head around that. That is so important, instead of like, I want to get right into New York Times, and you have nothing, no stories written in between. So when the story may run, say if it does run in New York Times, it's like, oh my God, that's not what I do, or that's not what I said,
And
or
that's
that's
the
not how
only
I
thing
want to
out
come
there.
across. And it's like, but you needed to make those course corrects as you go in the smaller publications along the way, so that you can see that. But yeah,
Mhm.
that's one of the main things I find that people just really don't get. The other part though, Lyris,
Mhm.
and this happens when we start getting them a lot of press. And this is maybe more so like not the B2B, not the business to business, but more so like B2C. So these are the people that are like, um, I guess you would say the thought leaders or the subject matter experts. And they start getting a lot of press. And you know what happens after that, right? You can't tell them nothing. At this point, they start believing their own hype. I'm like, oh my God. you are really believing all of this. Like this is you're doing. It's like, and I feel like I've created a monster. You're on Billboard, okay? You're getting a lot of press. People are calling you, but you're not Beyonce or Oprah yet. Like really,
Right.
you go to the grocery store and people will just say, "Oh, I recognize you," but it's like it's not to go to your head. We're
Right.
publicists. We're pushing you out there so that your brand could be known because of the service or the products that you sell, not
Mhm.
so that you can just ego trip on it. I would think like just Carol's daughter. Let's just say if she was like that, and I've met Carol's daughter, she's not like that at all. And so Carol's daughter, people know her. She's been on Oprah. She's done her hair, back and forth. But when you still meet her, she's still Carol's daughter. You know that that's a hair care
That's
product,
true.
and she's just
That's
very,
true.
very
And
nice.
she's still very sincere. And then people talk about that. And
Mhm.
the thing, like I was wanted to say that before is like public relations is the public perception of your company. And so, yes, that once we do the public relations and we raise the visibility, we raise your brand, and you look great, you have to remember that what people remember is how you feel, how you make them
Yeah,
feel. So
right.
you have to then keep yourself in check so that you don't, like you said, get a big head. Because a big head like that, what follows is big head behavior,
Yeah.
which is going to then undo all the
All the
work
work
that
we did.
we just did. Because some people are going to be talking about you, you're going to do something stupid, and now we're in crisis communications.
Oh my God. I remember one client, not gonna name names. I got them in Speakers Magazine. They got a different thing, and they came and they were hired to speak. They came into that event, I promise you, with sunglasses on. It was night.
Mhm.
Like, where are you going, ma'am, with these Hollywood sunglasses on? I'm like, you are. It was like
Is she on stage with the glasses?
no, she was just when she
She just
came in and
coming
they
in
were
to make
they
her
were directing
entrance.
her to her table and, you know, it was like you had to come through the building a lot walking in with these glasses, like it was valet. You got to come through the lobby, you got to come up the steps, you got to come up an escalator. The sunglasses were on the entire time, all the way up to the table at night.
At night. At night.
I'm like, oh my god. And that was the first time that was kind of like the first time I noticed this whole PR thing, how it changes people. And
Mhm.
and they're realizing that, ooh, I'm feeling myself. I was like, I was like, I'm like Frankenstein. I've created some monsters here. What is going on? And a lot of times and this is not to read, but a lot of times, I'll tell people, I say, you need a picture, you need to put it on your book. You need, this is, you can put yourself on a t-shirt, you put yourself on a billboard. This is all so that people can remember, but you're not to feel the ego part of that.
Yes.
It's a promotion. It's you're still the same. You would and I've met TD Jakes in person with first time that I worked with him as a client. And he was well known and all that kind of stuff. I was like, oh my God, he was down to earth. Those are the people that really stay and stick. The people who get caught up in their own press, they don't stay around because then the word's going to get around that they're too difficult to deal
And
with.
I
I
have
don't want to
definitely,
hire them. I don't
yes,
want to bring them on.
yes.
They're too, if you're too difficult, it gets around. Reporters will speak and
It
say, you
gets
know what, you don't want to,
around. We have worked with many
or they're late.
celebrity, musicians,
Ooh,
artists who have
musicians
ruined their careers because it was said that they are difficult.
or
And
late all the
so,
time.
or late all the time, or late and difficult. Usually, it's the both. But I think, Pam, you're kind of reminding us that as publicists, this is part of our training. We have to actually have this conversation, the character development. And
Yes,
as
yes,
we raise their brands, we also have to help them raise their character and
yes,
say, this is something you need to look out for. We're going to do this, and you're going to walk into a new levels. You're going to walk with new levels, new devils. And part of that is going to be a lot of it is going to be the self-control and
yes.
the self-discipline and the humility that isn't just about
That
it
part.
being biblical, and it's not false humility because that's even
No,
worse.
no. But
But
just
it's the humility that keeps you in line and in tune with God's spirit so that you can still do God's purpose as you
mhm,
move forward. Because all of what we do is about the purpose that God created us to do.
yeah,
And we
so
have
we
to
can
walk
shine their
into
light.
that,
Yeah,
but we have to stay in tune in order to be able to do that. And He will, He'll bring us up to the next level when we're ready, when we show that we can handle it. But if you're going to act, nutty, and if you're going to get undo the work, and now you've got to relearn lessons that he taught you 10, 15 years ago, that's the kind of, circle, swirling around the toilet bowl of your career. So the humility is key, and
it is.
character,
It is.
integrity, and just kindness.
I can see sometimes though how a person can feel that they are quote unquote better than other people if they're on a cover of a magazine or they are on a television segment and people say, "Oh, I saw you," or they put out on social media, "Oh, I've been in Forbes," that, or I've been, and they get all these different, and then the head starts to swell.
Hmm.
And I can't, and the character development that I have to have with all of them to say is just laugh at it. The praise of man is here today, but also the rejection could be there tomorrow. Okay. It happened to Jesus. So he could be Hosanna, Hosanna, and the next thing you're on the cross. So, we're all of it like loose clothing. Wear it
Yeah,
like loose clothing. It matters not, just wear it like loose. Appreciate it. That yes, I'm featured in this. I'm featured in that. The person that I think, and I've never met her yet, but I'm thinking she probably has this level of humility because I've seen her career is Tabitha Brown.
that's
So
true.
Tabitha Brown started basically with her phone, right?
Hmm.
And she tells you all the time that she just was doing all these little recipes on video and nobody was watching it. And she was just like, okay. And
Yes,
in
yes,
between it,
yes.
she was doing Uber. She
Right.
was driving an Uber, and then
Hmm.
one day she decided to do a Uber drop off, I think at Whole Foods or something, and she ran in with her camera and told people that she cooked with, I'm probably messing up, but anyway, long story short, she went into Whole Foods and she did a video in Whole Foods, and the regular Tabitha Brown self with her little comic way and her southern drawl talked about the food at Whole Foods and then hit send and send it up. Well, when she got home, that particular video went viral, and it was like thousands, and she was like, could not believe it because she wasn't getting any more than 100 people a day.
Yes. Hmm.
Thousands and thousands. She was like, something's wrong with my my
Hmm.
video. It's like, no, it went viral. And she got a message, a DM from Whole Foods, and said that they wanted her to be an ambassador. And she thought it was a joke. So that's how it started with her. I mean, she's in Target now. She's everywhere. She's got a restaurant, all this. I mean, she's making money and she's bigger. She's been in Essence. She's been on Upscale. She's been on, I think she's on the cover of Upscale. I remember seeing it.
Yes,
I think it,
absolutely, she was. Yeah,
uh-huh.
about
And
2 months
she's
ago.
been speaking at conferences, but I don't hear her, and I even see her interacting with people who want to take pictures with her and that sort of thing. I don't hear that level of like, I've arrived, I'm better than you. No, don't be bothered with
But
me.
she stays grounded, though.
Mhm, mhm. She's
She
Christian.
stays
Yeah.
grounded. She stays
Mhm.
connected. She stays in prayer. She stays listening. So that is a big part. I would,
Yeah.
think that it was a big part of how she can maintain not losing it.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
And one of the main things too, when I had a conversation and I call it therapy for PR girls, right? This is our special segment to get out there, get known. But I had someone that left me a voice message, not saying any name. It was probably about, I don't know, 5 minutes long, and they had got their name from someone and got my name from someone and got my number, which never do that. But anyway, they were leaving this long message how wonderful they were and how they were doing this and they were speaking here and speaking there and speaking everywhere and wanted to work with me. And I said, "What's your budget?" He said, "What do you mean, my budget for speaking?" I said, "No, your budget for hiring a publicist, sir."
Hmm.
He said, after all the things that he said, $100 money is hype right now. Man, you better get off my phone. I was like, What? So I'm just saying, if you are thinking that a publicist is $100 and you got all this going on, like, who are you fooling? I was like, what are you smoking, sir? I'm like, oh no. And I said, was it a joke? And he said, money is cyber. I was like, oh no. So the typical range for any publicist, a retainer for at least 3 months, because you can't really do anything in a month, but
No,
at least 3 months, 6 months, typically it's a year, 2,500 a month to $10,000 a month.
that's right.
That's a retainer for a PR person to be dedicated to you.
That's right.
$100 is basically, sir, you could just probably like my Facebook post or something like that. I don't know what it is. It's just like,
I like your Facebook post for free. Just don't call me there. Yes.
it's like, what is this? I'm like, and that's when I called you. I was like, I can't believe that this is happening. Like, what? So if
That's
you're
kind
going to engage and hire anyone, go online, look what the costs are for those services, and then see who it is that you vibe with. You know, like I said,
yeah,
Lears works with particular people, and if you're in this area, if you work in, so you have to know though, you can't just go to someone and just say, I only got this much money.
right.
That's not going to work, especially the level of experience that we have. And so Lyris has been doing this for decades. I've been doing this for decades. So we can say, okay, with that, if you don't have the budget, just like if you wanted a car that you couldn't afford right now, you save up for it. Okay. If you want a particular car, if you can only afford this right now, then you buy that car right now, but save up for the one you really want. So that's the same thing with whatever services you want, whatever neighborhood of a house. You start out with the starter house and then you move up, and it's the same thing. And so I just laugh sometimes because I think we make it look too easy, and it's just like we figure that we could just call somebody and get them on, I don't know, Tamron Hall. That's
What I find is, just dealing with companies, it's kind of like, on one hand, they made the decision to do PR, but then they feel this need to ask that question of, well, what's the return on investment? And it's kind of like, but we already discussed the purpose. And so
right.
are we confused about, the focus? The PR is long term.
Right.
It raises
It's not like we're a call center and making sales for you.
it, right, right.
We're not that, we're not making sales calls like, okay, buy their product. This is all about imaging, branding over time, how people feel about you, how they're seeing you in different places. They may see you in a corporate setting, in a newsletter, and then maybe they'll see you in a, in a magazine. Maybe they'll see you on a podcast, so we'll put you in different places, saying the same messaging, but you're hitting different people or the same people, and they're seeing you differently. And that's going to take over time how they feel about you.
How you feel, because PR, it leads to sales, but PR, it sets the messaging, we set the marketing materials, and all of that must be in place for sales to happen. The public relations it comes first. We create greater name recognition, increase
Awareness.
credibility, you get more confidence in what you're selling, and there's less hesitancy to buy what an expert is selling or what the services that they provide or the products that they make. If they're really good at it, you're going to pay the higher level, the higher rates for it. And so greater name recognition opens doors. You get to speak, Speakers Magazine, you present
And
your
they get
services
awards.
and products,
Mhm.
and it pushes you ahead and above your competitors. But sometimes I think that people, they confuse PR and marketing, and they
All the
confuse
time.
PR marketing and sales.
Oh my
But
God.
if you don't do the messaging, if you haven't determined, who you serve, what your purpose is, what your expertise is, then people can't buy from you because they don't even understand what you do. They're confused. And so all of that has to be laid out before you can even start selling or putting anything together. But the return is that if you have the foundations laid, then you can rise and you can grow and you can you increase your sales. Maybe not, one press release isn't going to do it, but over time,
Over
it
time.
absolutely will.
The return on investment would be, if you don't do it, you will not grow. Okay, you will not grow market share, you will not go brand share. That will be the ROI. So it's more or less like this will happen if you don't.
This is
So
happening.
you will continue to struggle. And I always tell people that I say you'll continue to struggle because people are going to be buying someone else because it's about attention and name recognition. So you can be the best over here, but no one heard of you, or
Mm-hmm.
I can buy someone who maybe is mediocre, but they are continually always doing marketing, PR, branding. Their things are together, they have their messaging, and they're always in my face. Versus someone over here is just like, well, I have a sales team, but yeah, but you don't have public awareness yet. I always tell people it's awareness, interest, desire, and action. ADA. It's like those are the things you've got to have the awareness. Attention is the main thing, and so PR will bring that. And so you can. We didn't even talk about this list. They can do a whole lot of Facebooking and they can do a whole lot of Instagram, but there's credibility that comes with media when media tells your story. We can write our own website, we can write our own social media posts, but when the media writes a story about you, it has a different vibe.
Yes, it
That's
does.
what publicists bring to the table for you. So, yes, you continue to do your social media, you continue to write your web copy and your email newsletters. But if you want to get in Business Insider or if you want to get in Upscale Magazine, whatever, those are wrapped around a different way where people are seeing you because it's the media, it's vetted by the media. So yeah, that's really like the main thing. That's the ROI. And a lot of people don't want to take the time to develop the relationships with the media. So that's why they hire a PR pro, because
Right.
that's where we swim. That's where we live.
It's
That's what we
time.
do.
It's
Yeah.
an investment of time, and then it's an
Mhm.
investment of funds to pay for the time.
Yes.
It's an investment
Yes.
because yeah, it
Yes.
takes time to go get it and to build it and to grow it. And yet that social proof, to get that public proof that says when somebody else says that you're wonderful, then you definitely other people believe it versus, you can't
You
elevate
see.
yourself all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things that PR will do is that if you're applying for an award, so a lot of people are like, oh, I want to get this award. And so you
Hmm.
apply for the award
Right.
and you could talk about all the wonderful things that you do. But if you put in links of stories or things that where you have been,
Hmm.
a podcast even or a TV segment, put that in the application for the award, you're more likely to win it. And
Definitely.
that's what I always tell people. I said that part of PR really does help. If it's the Stevie Award, let's just say it's the Stevie Award. A lot of people apply for Stevie Awards, and there's so many different categories. And so I've even judged the Stevie Awards, and so they write all this content that's narrative about what they are, but then they say, oh, and also too, we have had these media hits. I was like, oh,
Okay. Yeah.
okay, they get a
Yeah.
higher score. They get a higher
Absolutely.
score. And it's not
Absolutely.
because I'm a publicist, but it's because someone else is saying that they're good besides them writing that copy down for themselves. So that's the ROI.
That's true.
Okay. That's the
That's
ROI.
true.
So yeah, this has been good, Laris. This has been good. You have we talk and we really break it down, and it's just like I guess any career will have its little moments, but PR people, because people can see PR, they can see ad, they can read, they see magazines, they see Tamron Hall, Jennifer Hudson, Sherry Shepard, and it's like, I want to do that too. And they look at us like, can you get us on there? It's like, let's get you in your local media outlets first, okay? Before we try and do Sherry Shepard and you try and do Jay Hood, coming down the aisle, doing all that kind of stuff. It's like,
And it reminds me because I remember way back, someone asked me, they said, I want to be an influencer. And I said, influence what? And it's really about remembering that you have to have a purpose,
yes.
that what your mission, your goal, your work has to be purpose driven. And then, yes, you can influence because you're intentional and you're not just like anything. So what do you want to influence? What do you want to do? How do you want to walk this world? What how do you want to present yourself? How do you want what do you want to leave behind?
Hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
PR is not a self-esteem builder.
how about that?
So, so
How about
it's
that?
not gonna be a self. I mean, don't come to us because you need your self esteem built up. Okay, we are putting out messages that matter. That is, we're storytellers. We are shaping content for you to be in business to sell something but if you need it for self-esteem, that's another type of therapy. That's not what we do. We're publicists, not therapists. So that's what.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's funny.
So this is good. This is good. But I have a program, Ready, Set, Go, Speak, for people who are just really wanting to get started in learning about branding and all of that. And tell people to your website too, Lyra, so people can actually go to you as well. What's the best place for them?
Then find me at lerismedia.com. So that's LERIS media, media.com. And you'll find all our services there. So
Good. Yeah. So that's where I want people to go there. Lerismedia.com. All right.
And
Right behind you.
I don't really have like a project. What I'm doing now is more the integrated marketing, basically because of, as we started this whole conversation, is that we do everything. And so now I'm just leaning into that integrated marketing where I'll do the email, we'll do the social media, we do the website, we do the entire planner, so that all 5 fingers, all 5 platforms of your communications are all connected, and that they're all of your different streams and channels are all moving in the same direction, saying the same thing, looking the same way. And that really will raise your brand a lot higher and a lot faster if we can clean it up and get it all together. So serve as a marketing director for many companies, or just can manage the vendors that they have. They can bring in a team, manage their vendors. But it's all about the integrated marketing, because in truth, that's what public relations is.
It is. It really is. It's the glue that holds it all together. So I love that. I love that. So Lyris, thank you so much for joining me. This has been really good because it has been, people need to know the behind the scenes stuff that we kind of deal with, and we teach as we preach, and then we do the work as well. So it's a process. And I really appreciate you. So thank you so much for joining. Get out there.
Thank you for having me, Pam. This was great. Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Get Out There and Get Known podcast, brought to you by PamPerryPR.com, where you'll get insider tips on how to build your platform, pitch the media, and promote yourself with confidence. Head over to PamPerryPR.com and get the exclusive video training on the 7 must-have marketing materials you need before you pitch in order to be considered in media places or superstar stations.